Peel back the glossy veneer of the luxury watch world and it reveals a darker, more sinister reality. The grey watch market isn't just about buying and selling high-end timepieces. Behind the scenes, it's a complex web where money laundering and organised crime intertwine. So, how are these luxurious symbols of success manipulated to facilitate illegal activities on a global scale? From shadowy deals to hidden transactions, we're uncovering the truth on how the world's most prestigious watches are used to clean dirty money. It's a side of the industry we all know is there, we just don't know for sure who the active players are. But the truth is, any industry that involves the exchange of big money transactions inevitably will attract bad actors looking to exploit. So, how do they do it, and what are the red flags that you should be aware of? Welcome back, guys. Now, I was amazed recently to learn that there are estimations that potentially up to a third of grey watch market economy activity is derived from the proceeds of ill-gotten gains. We all know about money laundering. I've mentioned this before on the channel, and we know that our industry is exposed to being used in that respect by criminals, maybe small individual criminals, or perhaps even, I believe, at a larger scale, organised crime rings that are using the grey watch market to exploit the fact that it is deregulated and that it is primarily cash-based. If it is true that up to a third of transactions are paid for with the proceeds of ill-gotten gains, then it is incredible to think, well, what role did that play during the hype bubble that we experienced 2 years ago when prices were soaring and going through the roof? And I suppose it makes you wonder even more, guys, would prices be even lower for Rolex, say for example, on the secondary market than they are now if there wasn't this invisible factor at play influencing demand on the secondary market? So what exactly is money laundering then? Basically, it is the process for which we take dirty money which is derived from criminal activities and we make it appear to the taxman as legitimate, as having derived from legitimate sources. Now, this is a process and it involves three defined separate stages. Now, in the case of luxury watches, they're perfect for this because they're high value, portable, and have a relatively stable market. So here's how it would work. The first step is placement. Criminals purchase luxury watches with cash obtained from illegal activities. So they're placing that dirty money into an asset. The second step of money laundering in the grey watch market would be layering. Now, these watches purchased would be sold through grey market dealers, often multiple times, and maybe even across different regions to obscure the money trail. Now, the great thing with luxury watches, of course, is their portability. And the third and final step would be integration. The proceeds from the sale are then reintroduced into the financial system as legitimate earnings from watch sales. Now, if you're a lone entity, a one-man band criminal who perhaps has a few £1,000s that you want to clean, then yes, you can buy a watch, sell it many times over, and you don't really, I suppose, have to have much reason as to why you have those proceeds. But with that final step of integration, this is most fascinating, I think, because this explains how organised crime gangs and larger organised crime gangs can become involved, and I do believe to some extent they are involved in the grey watch market, because with sums of money that run into the hundreds of thousands of pounds, the millions of pounds that drug dealers perhaps would be making, then you really need to have a legitimate business reason as to where those funds have arisen from. And that's where I suppose grey watch market dealers that are used as a cover business, purposely built and created in the intention of cleaning money, acting as a washing machine for cash, so that they come out at the other side as legitimate proceeds from the sale of inventory of a legitimate company registered at Companies House or in the United States with the IRS. That secondary market dealer doesn't have to be too concerned about whether they make a profit or a loss, because it doesn't really matter as long as everything looks on paper when those accounts are filed at the end of every year to be fairly consistent with legal requirements, and there's a chartered accountant that signed them off at the other end. Now look, as I said, there's no real way of telling, of understanding who perhaps these players might be. I think it is fairly sensible to assume that this does go on. It would be naive to say that every watch dealer, every grey watch market dealer is completely clean. I do believe that there will be a handful in the United States and potentially even here in the United Kingdom whom are to some certain extent influenced by the powers above of these organised crime gangs that utilise them, maybe even have full control or ownership. Who knows? Over some of these grey watch market dealers. It is concerning. It will certainly be concerning for you as the consumers of the grey watch market, the watch buying public. The fact that you may be worried and concerned that the watches you're buying perhaps aren't genuine or stolen, I don't think that is true at all. As I said, these businesses are well-run businesses. They're businesses which perhaps are more established. They are businesses which are performing quite well. Their accounts read normally. And that's because, you know, they buy real watches, they sell real watches, and the business is run as a normal business. There isn't really anything for the consumer to be worried about, but there is absolutely an impact, I think, of this invisible market player on the watch industry. I think prices are more artificially inflated because of that extra activity, that extra trading activity which is going on the market, and it is just basic supply and demand principle in economics. If there are more people in the market that shouldn't be there buying these watches, selling these watches, it creates a more liquid economy, which means that it drives prices up. It is exactly the same with the housing industry and other markets as well. So getting back to the larger organised crime gangs then, of course, the dark world is worth billions of pounds every year. So these companies are very big, and by that definition, it means that they are international, and therefore the proceeds of ill-gotten gains are part of a larger network, a larger web of transactions that happen across the world. That means that those proceeds at some stage need to be transported abroad, overseas, back to the powers that be, those organised crime gangs. It's very difficult to do that with $1 million worth of cash bills, for example. Now, $1 million apparently weighs 22 pounds, and if you're going to be carrying that across the border at customs, questions are going to be asked. The logical choice in a legitimate sense would be a traditional bank transfer, which would require you to deposit the funds at a financial institution. This would alert authorities who would request an explanation for how you came about the funds, both for tax purposes and for anti-money laundering enforcement. So what do you do instead? You visit a grey market dealer, purchase a dozen or so Rolexes and APs. Each of them could be worth up to $500,000 potentially. You don't even need a dozen. You may only need to buy one or two of them. You then could use couriers known as smurfs to carry the watches on commercial flights, each one of them wearing a watch on the wrist and a couple in their carry-on bag. For the cost of a few round-trip tickets, the watches can be transported across the border to the origins of that organised crime gang. In that country of origin then, you find a grey watch market dealer willing to buy those watches from you for cash, or if you want to reintegrate the money back into the financial system, a bank transfer, and the process of money laundering is complete. In 2015, an investigation by the DEA revealed that Hezbollah, a Lebanese terrorist organization, purchased large quantities of watches in Europe, which were then transported by couriers to Lebanon, where they were sold for cash. Hezbollah reportedly purchased 14 million euros worth of watches from a single store in Germany, thus evading international monitoring. The world is not all flowers and rainbows, and I do believe that there is some influence from organised crime in the grey watch market, and we expect to continue to see the use or exploitation rather of luxury watches in the global illicit finance network, particularly as watch prices remain high and only continue to grow. Guys, let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments section below. As I said, I don't think this is anything really for you to be particularly worried about as consumers. customers, but this is a watch channel, so I thought it would be fascinating to talk about it. I can confirm that if you shop at beatthewaitlist-watches.com, we have never been involved with money laundering, and neither are we in any control of an organised crime gang. Take care guys, I'll see you next time.